tonight's episode of The Scoop. As you can tell, we are now on a new platform. So this is allowing us to be available on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook Live, multitude of other places. And the episode will be available for viewing afterwards. We'll still post it to Instagram for all you IG lovers. So today we are joined by AJ Ciccotelli and Gian Carlo Durland, and they are the co-writers and co-producers of a film called Ripples of Water. AJ is also the director, and John Carlo is one of the lead actors. He plays Peter. So before we get started with our interview, let's go ahead and watch the trailer.
You know, you can get healthy, you can lose weight, but to be fat, 50, and single in the gay world, I'm nothing. No, I don't want you coming here. I don't want you calling me. Just stop.
You just broke the heart of a truly great man. Unhappy birthday, Peter.
Oh, boys. Hi. Hey there.
So, you want to go for a walk? What?
I should have put him down years ago. Damn Hippocratic oath.
I heard that.
Oh, no. Please, please, please. Don't use that word. I didn't even tell my dog I loved him until his 7th birthday.
So?
He ran away the next day. It won't work. All gay movies are low budget and they can't afford the IMAX camera to capture my full figure.
Awesome. What a great trailer. I love that little bit of self-awareness there with the low-budget gay films. I thought that was funny. Great. Let's have AJ and Giancarlo join us.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome, guys. Thank you so
Thanks
much for
having
joining
on.
us. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I was wondering if you guys could tell us a little bit about what made you want to write this film, because I know sometimes it's one person's idea more than the other. Sometimes it's like a collaboration right from the very beginning. So kind of how did Ripples of Water get started?
He's the director, and I allow him to take the lead. So it's based on his play. So AJ should start.
No
That's right,
pressure.
yeah.
No pressure. No pressure. It started off as a monologue back in the 90s. It was one of the first pieces I've ever wrote, and it was performed in New York City, and it was a monologue. And the only thing I remember about it, it was done during a collection of all my pieces. It was part of my graduation, my undergrad work. And the man who played Peter, it was just Peter's monologue about falling in love for the first time. Well, he took off all of his clothes on stage. And that's all that anyone talked about after that. Forget my poetic, beautiful, yearning monologue. It was all about, did you see that guy? He took off all his clothes on stage. And so I wrote this one-act play. Actually, it was going to be a full-length and about love story between an older man. And at that time, I was a younger man. And I had a string of relationship with older men. So I kind of explored that a little bit in my play. And then I put it in one of my draws for about 20 years. And forgot about it. And so I started their company in New Jersey, and John Carlo, who's kind of legendary in New Jersey, legendary actor.
Yeah,
Yes,
right
you're
up there with
terrific,
Springsteen.
terrific.
Yeah,
And
totally legendary.
he contacted me. He said, I know you do a LGBTQ festival, Rainbow Festival. I usually go to Italy for the summer. Do you have anything for me? And I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, so this really wonderful actor contacted me. I'm going to find something for him. And I pulled out this play and I said, okay, I wrote it when I was super young. So here it goes and tell me if you like it. And he really loved it a lot. And we put it up. It was a hit. And we were like, before we closed, I forgot who mentioned it to who, but like, we really should make a film out of this. It was you, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And
I
so
may
we're
not
like,
have been
okay.
entirely sober, but I do remember. I think, yeah.
And we kind of like, okay, now the issue is who has a house by the water. Lucky enough, John Carlo has a really good friend, Carolyn Walsh and Bruce Walsh, and they saw it the last night. They loved it. She tells me she was crying during it, and laughing and moved by it. And so Carlo whispered in her ear, and she said, like, sure, film in our house.
Whispered, fell down on my knees,
Begged.
screamed, held her leg until she agreed.
pretty much our experience with indie filmmaking, everything you mentioned. And then so we're like, okay, great, but it's a one-act play. How do we make it into a full thing? So we spend the whole summer constructing this, and we closed beginning of June, and we started principal photography the last week of August, and we shot it in about 8 days. And it's been a wild adventure. We borrowed, begged, and stolen for this movie, and it's been pretty incredible. But we really had a lot of say. John Carlo was great with opening it up. The initial play only has 2 characters. It's only Peter, and at that time it was called Philip, and we changed his name to Caleb. Because
the actor who starred opposite me, his real name was Phil, and we didn't want him to enter into the Tony Danza thing where every time he does a role it has to be named Phil, or
Yeah, so I like it too, and so, especially for film, everyone gets easily confused. Like Phil, Peter, Tupini, we changed it, but
and we like the name Caleb. So
yeah. And the thing about that story was we were both on the edge of turning 50. I mean, we were both 49 when we wrote it, and I was turning 50.
Yeah, we're only a couple months apart.
Yeah.
Don't
And Doug Bollinger.
Don't ask who's younger, by the way. It's me. Just saying.
That's true. Doug Bollinger, who plays Carlo's best friend in the movie, a really good friend of mine too. He turned 50, so it was like 50-50-50. So we were like, and I was like at a point where it's like, I haven't made a film yet. I've made a couple of shorts, but like I really wanted to just dive in there and. So that's kind of how the story became. But John Carlo was great with like opening it up with the party.
Well, the thing is, as an actor it's a very intense 50-minute one act. And with it's just 2 people, you're talking about a point at the birthday party. And as the preparation, how actors do their prep, it fills in the time when we're not doing anything. I mean, we're thinking about what happened before, or what was happening in the beginning of the night, what was happening, concurrently. And I just started telling AJ about all the things I envisioned, like the many friends who were at the parties, the backstories behind them, what the actual party from hell was like that led us to the moment of me meeting the younger man. And then it just turned into a script. I mean, again, between 7 weeks or so, boom, there was a movie being out. We still look back going,
like, how did that happen?
We're in the middle of shots sometimes going, we managed to get a crew. We even had craft services. We had so many people helpful, and it was such a positive thing of all these local artists who came together and said, it was Mickey and Judy, let's put on a show. I mean, everybody brought something, and it was just magical. I mean,
we had no, you know, for like, it was like our baptism by fire. It was like no time. No time. We were exhausted. There was no time to even question, like, did we even know what we were doing? We just like did it, and like, you know, it was great. I mean, I love film. I studied film most of my life. You know, I first my intention was to go into film, but then back in the day where you had to actually film it on, you know, like I remember my first year at School of Visual Arts, you had to film it on Super 8, and then you had to cut it, like literally cut the film and tape it together. And
the little razor blade cuts you would get too. I remember that.
It cost so much money to make a movie. Now it's like it's so much like affordable. I mean, on the minus side, there's like so many more people could do it, so the competition is a lot more fierce. But at the same time, you know, I'm at a point where I just want to make movies and do plays, and I just want to love what I do. So, you know, so it's been quite an adventure.
Yeah, and as a result of that, I mean, we've been fortunate right out of the gate. We won the Audience Award at Q-Fest in Philadelphia, like one of the first festivals we applied to. We've gotten like another 20 film festival. We got to go out to Palm Springs for and that was amazing. I mean, just amazing to meet all these other, you know, queer filmmakers and writers and actors, just to share war stories. How did you get yours made? What problems did you get into? How many nervous breakdowns have you had? I mean, and you know, we talk about these war stories. I mean, I'm old enough to remember that the last thing you wanted to do in an audition was to come off as gay. And this would be especially if you were going for a gay role. Want to talk about a paradox of the way things used to be? And now everybody is so just free to be themselves, and so much better work is happening as a result because there's nothing hidden, and we all get together and talk. And it's fantastic, you know.
Yeah, it is fantastic. I mean, I was told back in the day, like, you want to destroy your career, you would come across as gay. So they almost like, I felt like they were almost like teaching us how to act straight to get roles. And I just like, that's probably why I wasn't very good with the acting part, like not the acting part, but the career part of it. Because like, can I just like create stuff? Do I have to do this? You know, so yeah, it's so much better now. I mean, you know, we got a long way to go, but it's so much better. So much better.
Of course.
And just the fact that there are these now platforms that will, you know, share what would have been ultra niche, hidden away, you know, pieces of work. I mean, now, you know, queer cinema is part of the mainstream and getting more and more popular and more, you know, necessary. I mean, it's necessary for any population to be thoroughly represented through art, and it's just exciting to be part of it.
Exactly. You know? And it's exciting to see queer people as, you know, they're not just side characters and support characters anymore. They have their own love stories. They have their own journeys.
Yeah. I mean, we've had so many, you know, straight people commenting on our boards and just giving forth the things that resonated with them and made them happy, made them sad, made them glad to be 50. Made them happy to, to embrace love and not be afraid of it, because I don't think ultimately any story is like technically straight, gay. The universality of love and needing to, what was that line from Inheritance? Only connect. You know, that's the main thing, to find what's universal. And if you only see for how many long, just straight stories over and over, you don't recognize queer people as possessing the need for love and acceptance like everybody else, and that our love is the same as yours. So it's through stories like this that makes everybody move forward. And I think, you know, I'm proud to be part of it at this time, especially with my, you know, older brother by 3 months here.
1 month, excuse me, 1 month.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was doing it
3 months.
You know,
I'm October, you're November.
He's my god brother. I mean, it's wonderful to, you know, he's worked at the David Lynch Institute for Screenplay and everything. I'm an actor who's only come from improv comedy and a lot of gay best friend roles.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're chubby and gay, that's the rule.
And you're funny.
Right.
You have to be funny. You can't.
Yeah, but the idea.
Not funny.
Okay.
I wasn't
AJ,
very good with that.
When I met you, first of all, I did a web series that was a takeoff on Antiques Roadshow. I wrote him the most outrageous character, and he got every laugh that you can imagine. So don't tell me you're not funny. It's called Clutterluck. He is amazing as funny man.
I played it like Medea. Okay.
A little Medea and a little Medusa. I mean, the idea of me at turning 50, I was 49 when we made this, to have my first romantic lead. I mean, I don't count playing in South Pacific, because I really didn't want to kiss Nellie. I wanted to, kiss one of some of the sailors, but truly the only romantic lead I had was turning 50, being as overweight as I am and being me, falling in love with a younger hunky man and having a real connection in, not showing a stereotypical or a farcical or a comedic love, something that mattered. I never thought that would happen. Moreover, I never thought I'd show my butt at the age of 50. It's not that
that's great.
But if that's a selling point, so be it. But I don't think it is.
Maybe for some, maybe for others not.
Well, luckily, there may be another butt shot by someone maybe 20 years younger than me that is. It's an interesting compare and contrast episode. Let's stop talking about my butt. I'm just going to fall.
You brought it up. Oh, that's too funny.
Oh my gosh, I'm talking about my butt. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's okay.
We're still working now, and I never want to work with anybody else. I mean, we have a new project that we're doing together, a new follow-up.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's all about the work, getting out and doing it. I mean, when you find someone you love, just get out there, find someone, and you'll find another person. If you're really dedicated to getting a story told, other people will sense it and will come on board. That's one thing we noticed.
That's right. Yeah, that's so true. When you're telling something, telling a story that's genuinely important to both you guys and, to others, they can smell it,
Well, people want it in a group,
Yeah, that's so true. So was the first project you guys worked on the Clutterluck that you mentioned earlier? Like, how did you guys start working together?
It was when I reached out to him, and I like the way you said that before, Age, too. Usually he goes to Italy every summer, but this one summer, okay, I have family in Italy, and they pay for everything. Usually I stay in hotels that are below hovels, okay? just to let that straight. Before I was married, now I can stay in an actual hovel. But no, we really met when he had the La Strada Ensemble Theater, which did this wonderful Rainbow Festival of plays from all over. I mean, it was just great to see so many short gay plays, and that's where it started. And then Ripples, I did Clutterluck. We've been feeding off each other. Then we've come together for the new film. Do we want to announce the title, Age, or?
Sure, why not?
Do it. Let's hear about it.
You know what? I like to give people the exclusive. So you got the
no. You
go ahead.
It's called Where Were We?
Okay.
And at the rate we're going, look for it by 2025. I'm guessing. It's maddening. It's infuriating. It takes everything out of you. Nothing ever goes right.
Mm.
And like Jeffrey Rush and Shakespeare in Love, in the end, it all turns out turns out all right. It's a mystery. No one knows why.
Yeah.
But we love the
lead. Will you be the lead for that again, Carlo?
Actually, AJ, I came up with the story, and then he and I wrote the script together, and it's more of an ensemble feel. Imagine a bunch of high school people in their 50s looking back on their youth, more or less, in a nutshell. So AJ gets to show the monumental actor he is, and
Awesome.
asked me right off the screen several times. I'm not afraid to say, and I'm proud to say, because I love them. And we all, and of course, we all get to show a different side. And the one thing is interesting because I got the idea to do this about, did you ever have one of those teachers, the ones that you always remember, who gave you more than all the other teachers, just this spark? Yeah, everyone did.
Yeah.
And there was one that we all did. So in the movie are several actors who I've known since high school, and they're acting with us now in large parts, including Doug Bollinger, who was my best friend in Ripples of Water. And we're all playing variations on ourselves and talking about a lot of topical things: COVID, racism, homophobia. And it's a, I'm not going to be reductive, because we were throwing around the gay big chill for a while. Then we're like, no.
It's
Gays
kind
always go. Yeah, gays always
like
go where it's warm anyway. So
of like, yeah.
But and it's also interesting that it's a more ensemble thing, and we
Yeah.
also have young actors playing the young versions of ourselves too. So
They're so
it was
amazing.
interesting. It was
They
really a lot.
Amazing to work with.
Oh,
So
yeah.
pleasure directing them. Yeah, it was just shocking.
That's awesome.
We're so lucky to have actually really good actors that look like us when we were younger. I wish I looked.
Let me tell you, Diego and you, I swear to you, it was sometimes scary, because he is such a good young actor, and he's going to really, I think, go far. But when you two are on set together, I was like, oh my gosh, that is perfect casting. And the young man who played me and everything, it was just surreal. And we wanted to, of course, do something that we hope resonates and tells a great story. And the importance of arts education and diversity and all these other things that we really feel strong about are, figure prominently. So with AJ's direction and everything, we're still finishing up.
Yeah.
Very cool. I love that. AJ, I love that you kind of gave yourself a role in Ripples of Water too. I thought like the lines that you had for yourself were just like sprinkling in like some of the best comedic moments.
Well,
I really
first
enjoyed
of
that.
all, John Carlo was like, "You have to play this. You have to play this part." I was like, "Oh, it's just directing is so difficult." First of all, I was like, I had to think about what I was getting into, because it was my first feature that I directed, and then I was like, to play a part, and then it was like, okay, like what hat do I wear? But it was so easy, because everyone around us, we were like family. Like I worked with almost everyone, or I at least knew of everyone on set, when we hired them. So we had very little rehearsal time. We kind of just, did it. And it was just so, in that movie, especially to play Tom Cruise and to play the old grandfather.
Oh, but no.
Moonstruck.
AJ's husband only had 2 lines in the film, and I think that he steals it too, right next to him. Do you remember "Brunch is Sacred"?
Yeah.
And that was the worst, but that was the worst Tom Cruise ever. That was Matt, his husband.
That's my husband, Matt.
I love
Okay.
Yeah, who's not an actor, but he stole the movie from us. So whatever. Sort of like in life,
He's a magical person, and it shows on camera.
He is. He's a beautiful man. Beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome. Yeah, it's so fun when you can incorporate people who you really know, because you can trust like how important the project is in their hands and say like, please give this your all,
Yeah.
And also, what can you, I mean, I know that in the script we just wrote, and especially AJ encouraged me, and Ripples, what do you have in your own life that you can bring to this? And, he discusses with his actors, like, what is your connection? And, oh, you have an idea for this, just incorporate your life into it, and nothing is wasted, and there's nothing off limits to discuss.
Yeah.
You never feel restricted in any way, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I like the whole idea of collaboration. I mean, honestly, like on the film, I have very strong ideas, but at the same time, I love to hear other people's ideas. And I'm kind of from the school of thought, like the best idea wins. At the end of the day, I have to make the choice. But hey, if you have a really good idea, we're using it. We're going to go with that one, because I mean, it's important, because or else it's then we're making a movie in a vacuum. Then it's just like, oh, me. But sometimes it opens it up to other things, other possibilities, and
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. What was your favorite scene to film? I'm curious.
Okay, it would be really easy, but to say like the love scenes, but by the way, Phil Kors is my co-lead in Ripples, and he's a professional comic. He's funny. I love him. We become best friends. You know, there's no romance. There's no nothing. We're very professional. He he's straight. I'm not. It's, however, and don't forget, I've never done a love scene before on film. I'd kissed a lot, and I figured I kissed enough women on stage. It was about time I got so to speak, a meaty film role. But I believe I can tell you what my least favorite scene was. How about that?
Okay, that's good
Because
too.
I was just so happy to be doing all the rest. It was so much fun. I couldn't. It's like choosing your favorite child.
Yeah.
When we're kissing in the pool after we fall in, it was the only time in August where I think it was 33 degrees out, and it was so cold. It was so cold that if you listen to one of the mixes, you can hear Phil's teeth chattering. And we were also fully clothed because we go into the pool together.
Yeah.
And I think that was the time where we most passionately kissed, just because we were giving each other mouth to mouth to stay alive. I think we may have had some form of cardiac arrest. I mean, it was so cold. And then my favorite scene is everything else, because we had such a ball.
I have to plug Phil a little bit. Phil was a company member for La Strada, and how I met Phil, this is before Ripples, about maybe a year before. Me and Christine Nagy, who plays Doug's wife in the film, and she's my best friend. She's one of my best friends. I have many best friends, but she's one of them. And like, he came in the audition, and he lived in Delaware, and we're like. We were doing this play in New Jersey. We're going to do it in New York. It was called The Dance, and they made a short film about it. But like, he was willing to drive up every day from Delaware.
Wow.
To do this short play.
That level of
off Broadway.
He's got a conviction about the things he does. He just does them.
I never forgot him. And then when. Then I asked him to do another play, and he had like maybe 3 lines in it, and
he still did.
And he still did it, and he was willing to help us build the set and everything else. And then when then we did some more stuff, and he just was like really such a generous, open spirit. And then when it came to Ripples, I was like, he's so willing to do this. And it was just like magic working with my 2 leads, John Carlo and
there is a wonderful
kind open man.
There's a wonderful thing that when you've done something on the stage and then you do a movie version of it, I mean the approach as an actor is much different, but having that level of knowledge of character and everything, and a lot of the dialogue, some of it was very much the same, made it a little easier in that aspect. But it also was taking it a step further and just exploring even more. But we had such a head start because of having done it on stage first.
Yeah.
And that was just wonderful to work with. And I felt so comfortable with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely seem comfortable on camera. I know you're an actor, so it's your job to be. But I thought you did a great job of playing those moments when you're kind of acting by yourself. You seem so comfortable on stage. And I also really love how, usually when you see like a depressed, down on their luck character, it's very one note, but I feel like you could always find like moments of humor. Like everything was just kind of like, oh, that's happening to me, or like, oh,
nobody
that's
wants
ironic.
to be Eeyore, no one wants to
Yeah.
I took it from Michael Shirtliff, who, everyone who I know has read Audition a million times and knows the guy. There is no depressed person. There's desperately wanting to be happy. and just either being afraid to or hurt to or just
Yeah.
There is nothing that's one note. You're not
Yeah.
angry, you're hurt, or you're not shy, you're wanting to be seen but afraid. These are things you can play that people can identify with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's face it, if had I not been married, and I'm married to a wonderful my husband Roy, if I was 49 or 50 and suddenly single again in the world as I see it, I think I would have felt a lot like Peter. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a scary world out there, and you need someone to hold on to, and you need someone to hold on to you as well. I feel it makes life better. To not have that, it would have terrified me. And I think I drew on a lot of what ifs, but I was
Mm.
surrounded by so many people with great people. Like I look at AJ and Matt together, and Roy's like, we've got to have them over again. Have them over. You just love being with them as people. And that,
Oh.
I think when you're surrounded by love and everything like that, it makes it easier to deal with that loneliness and depression. But it's kind of like how I deal with it in real life. You always have to look to the humor, the life, and the positivity. And that's what I love about AJ's work. And nothing about AJ is one note. I will say that. Nothing.
It's about like
Always
12
deep.
million notes happening someday.
Too many.
You couldn't do a one note if you tried. I mean, there's joy, but there's sadness, there's bittersweet, there's an ambiguity of feeling. It's just it's what actors love to play, and it shows in his writing. Don't forget, he's made award-winning short films too. Am I your agent now? Am I getting 10%?
I've just started making money so I can give you my 10%.
You just won another acting award and another award for which one of your short films? I've lost track. Come on,
IWSK.
Truffaut. What is it?
With best short thriller and best horror film and best film for the dance. Doing well.
Yeah. By the way,
Great.
was I in any of
Congrats.
those? AJ, was I
Not
in
those
any of
two.
those?
Not those
No.
two.
No.
Not those two.
Okay.
What was maybe before I met you? So
That's always your excuse. No, AJ is very accomplished just to be around creative people. I think that's the secret of life. You're never
Of
too
course.
old. That was one of the stories of Ripples. I had
Yeah.
never really achieved a big feature before, and it took us getting together and saying, okay, we want to do a queer feature. We want to do a queer story. No one's going to give it to you. We have to do this ourselves.
That's right.
And we
And that's
did. And
great.
we're
And
doing it again.
that's awesome. Yeah. Once you find someone to work with, hold on to them tight. But I love that you guys incorporated the age into it, because I think that is speaking to so many people. I was going through the IMDb page earlier today, and I saw a straight lady in her 50s saying like how much the film resonated with her,
left her husband,
which I thought
right?
was really cool.
And she left her husband.
Oh,
Yeah. It's pretty
Yes,
amazing.
that
nice.
one.
That was pretty
Yeah, that's
amazing.
right.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't
good
go
for
on
her. It was
IMDb. I'm afraid to
a
see what I'll
toxic
read.
relationship.
Yeah,
Life
exactly.
is too short. Life is too short. Like, if you're not here to fix people, you're here
Mhm.
to love people. And if the love is with these consequences that are not healthy, I grew up Catholic, so it was like you got married and you were stuck with them until you died. But if it's not a good, healthy relationship, then life is too short. Life is too
That's right.
short.
I get a kick out of that though. The straight people and straight couples just seeing it, and that, as I said before, this connection. That's what
Mhm.
it's all about, right there. I love it.
Absolutely.
Or older, gays like us. Not you. I mean, AJ and I seeing gentlemen who are terrified because you know how ageist the gay scene can be. I mean, it's pretty much across the board, though, gay or straight or whatever, that
Mhm.
society trends young,
Mhm.
and you're
Yeah.
supposed to not have a life, or even that's the point of Ripples too. Should I even dare think about getting happy again? I already had my shot.
Yeah.
And no, when there's life, there's hope.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, and we have the opening scene kind of pokes fun at that notion when all of his friends are like wishing him happy birthday, and then once they find out he's lost his partner, they're like, "Oh, that's your fault," you know? Well, you screwed that up for yourself.
Oh,
It was something though, just getting, I mean, our wonderful friends, Bruce and Carolyn, and essentially just moving into their large home on the water for like a week. Just and they were take our space, whatever, come in. I mean, we were sleeping in beds during our, few moments when we weren't filming and crashing here on the floor, having real, parties. By the way, here's a bit of trivia. You remember the Italian caterer who was shouting in the beginning, the lady? That's my sister.
Okay,
And,
cool.
she brought the food, so we
and
ate
it
the
was,
props.
mwah, it was so good.
Oh, I
Hey,
bet.
my sister's Italian from Livingston, New Jersey. You don't think that food would be good? Huh? Huh?
Best chicken parm I've ever had.
I know,
Oh.
right? So it was,
Yeah.
oh gosh, I forgot about that. Oh, good food, good friends, good family, everything.
That's awesome. Yeah, I find there's just something about like having people come together for an indie film, especially if it's your first feature or your first big, project. It's so cool to see the different ways that people come and help out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Incredible.
It's also was scary. It was like any good amusement park ride.
Mhm.
What you said, we didn't know what we were doing. Do you know how we're going to do it? No, but I know we're going to do it.
Yeah,
That's a wonderful feeling.
couple of good things.
Okay, let's go.
I'm a big planner, so everything was kind of scheduled to a T, and we didn't expect, we heard about things going to the middle of the night, and it did. And then we had to start really early the next day. And by I think day like 7, we were totally frazzled. But it was good frazzled. It was like, I think, when I like this term called, I learned it in Chicago when I was in directing school out there for theater, exquisite pressure. I like that term. It's pressure, but it's exquisite because then you have to make choices. Then you have to like figure things out. And it's like your mind is open to creative possibility. And I love that,
Well, we also did some scenes just totally right on the spur of the moment too. I
Oh
think
yeah,
in
yeah.
the film you have a
Scene on the
the monologue with
beach,
me in the phone outside.
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was last second.
That was last second. And the scene on the beach, Carlo, probably just totally exhausted, broke down and started crying. And I was like cut,
Oh.
and our DP Eric was like, "No, keep it running, keep it running." And then afterwards, I was so grateful because it was like, it's such a great moment. It was so real. That my actor was willing to go that deep. And I think, I'm not saying that if we were given an extra week or 2 weeks, we would have been less creative. But because we only had 8 days, it was just, I felt like it's like almost like this energy comes in, and it's just like opens you up, and then you just you go, and you make choices in the moment. It's sort of like life. Sometimes you make the best choices in the moment. So
I've been
I
on bigger film.
absolutely
I've
love
been on bigger film shoots though, where everything is a lot more regimented and planned. That I like the freedom of being in a smaller indie film where, yeah, let's try that. Let's do something totally different. Let's
Yeah.
see. You have more flexibility and a comfortability, and
Yeah.
I feel that the best creativity comes from being comfortable. I don't think I could have let myself go totally unless I totally trusted everyone and loved everyone around me. It
Yeah.
allows greater expression if you have that kind of environment,
Yeah.
and indie film gives you that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I just recently heard an interview with John Carpenter because it's Halloween time, and
Ah,
the classic Halloween, the movie, and that was like mecca for them because it was like they had 21 days to shoot this movie with no money, and it was like just this incredible, like this surge of creative like energy around them, and then he said like after that it was like that was it. because once he went studio, made studio movies, it was like that creativity's gone. Then you have
I don't know.
producers.
Starman was pretty kick-ass.
Oh, I thought Starman was awesome, and The Thing was awesome. You know, I think they were great movies. But like for him, it was just, you know, because you have like these studio heads making these insane demands. You know, we just want this alien attack at the end of the movie. You know, and it just doesn't make any sense. You know,
Yeah.
so I just
Now, could the lead alien make it with our leading lady? You know, the stuff that they suggest are just totally crazy. You know?
Yeah, but you know, anyway, I've never had the opportunity to work under a studio, but you know, I just know for now I love what I'm love making films and that creative freedom, having people around me that I trust and love, and you know, it makes things so much easier.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so true. And it's so cool. You guys are both, you know, triple threats. Like you've got the theater background, AJ, you're directing and producing and writing and acting, and John Carlo, same for you. Like that's really cool.
I think it does come back to what I said earlier. No one's going to give it to you. And I just
Yeah.
wish we had kicked ourselves in our own butts years earlier, you know?
Yeah.
I just to have a few more years of just doing it, because all we needed was each other. I think that was fantastic to just, okay, we're going to start doing this, and now we don't want to stop.
Yeah.
Especially since you told us about that IMDb review. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It was very heartwarming.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
read
awesome.
reviews because they drive me crazy.
Yeah. Well, she understood what you guys were going for, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much our time. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me. This was an awesome discussion. Love diving in a little bit deeper with you guys. So everyone that's watching, be sure to follow AJ and John Carlo. We'll have their handles just down there below. And of course, we'll tag you guys when we post, wherever we decide to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you so much, guys. And for all the other audience members out there, use the code THESCOOP to get 25% off your subscription so you can go and watch Ripples of Water.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you for having us. This is
Thank
Of
you.
course.
You.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Take care.